Well, it's no secret that I'm a Cardfight Vanguard Zoomer. I started playing when Divine started, basically, which was very recently. And there's been a lot of Vanguard history that I've just not been a part of or been a witness to. One of the most controversial parts of that history being the V series. And I really wanted to learn more about this era because it evokes such visceral reactions out of people when they remember it. So I brought on a friend, FuzzyParadox, the owner and operator of VGParadox, one of the best websites for Cardfight Vanguard, and also a Cardfight Vanguard boomer himself, to come on and teach me all about it. I saw these in the store, Fuzzy, and they were just like basically dead stock, and I bought it off of them. I had to explain to the cashier, yes, I know that this is old boxes, old product, but I'm buying them for a video. And so here we have the Destructive Roar, which is from June 29th, 2018, like
holy moly.
Over 6 years ago. And we also have Infideity Cradle, which is from October 11th, 2019. Now, as I open these up, I guess you'll tell me about what these cards are, and I wanted to ask, like, what was the V era like, and is it true, like, are the rumors true that it almost killed Vanguard?
I personally think that, like, when it came to the tail end of V format, there were definitely a lot more crazier things going on, right? There was things like Gurgwit, Luard, I mean, for all the G heads that know what I'm talking about, Dragonic Overlord, the Cross was also really, really powerful. But what you have right now, Infidelity Cradle, was actually like the tail end of the start of V era. It had several anime arcs that happened in the V era. So the way it worked was we had the original V series that started us off, which was like kind of like the Vanguard manga. And then after that came like I think like a small side story. And then came this one, the Shinamon arc, which is it's not technically V's last, but a lot of people consider it like the last V anime before the reboot happened. And this was the first wave of support of that set. So as most people know, maybe as you know too, Igni, before Nations, it was all clan based. So there was like 21 clans as opposed to all the 6 nations. And this one focused on Genesis, Angel Feather, Nova Grappler, and Nubatama, I think.
So V is like the first reboot of the game, basically.
Yeah, exactly. V is technically the first reboot of the game, and then after that came Overdress. I personally have good memories also with the Shinamon era as well. After this is when a lot of things started getting a little crazy, but I mean, during this time, it was really, really cool.
Well, first of all, we have a Vanguard Zero ad as the box topper here.
Oh my god, download Vanguard Zero right now, everybody.
Oh my god. And also, what the heck are these? Dog? What am I looking at?
Those are the unique mechanic of V era force markers. Okay. So when you rode a card with a imaginary gift icon, which is basically where the persona icon is right now, you were given what's called an imaginary gift. Clans had different gift types depending on what clan they came from. So you had 3 types of gift markers. You had imaginary gift force, imaginary gift excel, and protect. Now, force markers dealt with more about like rear guard pressure with less amount of rear guards. So they had ways to give your units more power or your units more criticals. Protect, they were more defensive oriented and being able to like make PGs out of these gift markers or make your unit's shield values stronger on your rear guard circles. And then Excel focused on just making a very, very wide board. So anytime you wrote an imaginary gift Excel, you would make what's called Excel markers, and then you'd be able to call additional rear guards onto your front board. And that focused on like just going really, really wide.
It's like a whole different game. You're like speaking a different language to me, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of cool intricacies with force markers that are still being used in the premium format right now. If you get a taste of the premium format, you'll definitely see force markers being used there for sure. It was a very powerful, very divisive mechanic, I would say.
Well, let's open up our first pack here. And I will say the V format as a new player, from what I've heard, it's gotten like a bad rap of like almost killing the game. Or was it the back-to-back reboots of V and then D that almost killed the game, would you say?
I mean, there's a lot of debate for it, right? I personally am of the camp that like there's a lot of going on things with it. There was definitely some archetypes that just went completely crazy at the tail end of V.
Or was it just the fact that it was a reboot in the first place that was like
I think for a lot lot of people, it was like, okay, the reboot happened. It was a jumping off point for a lot of them. But I think also for a lot of people, it's like when things get really, really crazy in Vanguard, it's like, all right, maybe it's time I take a break or something.
Oh my God, the cards look so different than they do now.
Yeah. So like the cool thing is that, or the unique thing is, right, is that because these focused on clans specifically, you're going to get a lot of archetypes and a lot of units that look similar to each other, right? So for example, what you have there, like the Nova Aokami clan, they focused on like ninjas and stealth, like dragons more specifically, where then as opposed to what you have in the second card over there, which is Nova Grappler, focused on like robots and professional wrestling was their mechanic over there. So
and some of these clans still exist just like within the nation, like sort of structures.
Exactly. Now they're all just like homogenized into one nation themselves. So
okay, but if you were Nova Aokami card, they look pretty sick.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that hasn't changed from Vanguard's history is that all the card arts look amazing as usual. So
yeah,
but
for real.
The cards themselves look so different. So this is the marker you were talking about, right? So this is a.
So Nova Aokami had access to the protect marker.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Like the way you're talking, it's like a completely different game to me, man. I have no idea what the hell you're saying. This looks like a Digimon card.
I mean, one thing that you'll definitely notice, right, is that at least when it comes to those triggers, right, the trigger powers are kind of the same.
Yeah.
So the critical triggers still have the 10,000 power, and it still had the 15k shield. So I mean, that part kind of carried over.
Hey, if you're enjoying the video, make sure to subscribe because it's my mission to make banger Cardfight Vanguard content, and I need your help to spread it all around the world. Okay, I guess to give a bit of history, like how long have you been playing Vanguard? Like what era did you start in?
Original Dragonic Overlord trial deck. So like OG that one. So I've been here. I've been here for a minute.
I mean, I got the right person to sit in with me on this.
I've seen so much, Igni.
But I'm telling you right now, a lot of their powers are like a little funky. Like these days, they're ignore my really dry hands, by the way. But these days, like a lot of the grade 1s, grade 2s, grade 3s have all the same power. But here I see like a huge difference in like what the powers are.
Yeah, because another thing to note of interest, right, is that when it came to certain archetypes of like force or protect, they normally gave certain cards of that nation like different increments of power. So I remember like Imaginary Gift, for example, like Imaginary Gift Protect and Imaginary Gift Excel. Their main grade 3 powers weren't 13k, they were 12k. As opposed to Imaginary Gift Force, their powers were always 13k. So if you look and you see a main grade 3 for like Excel, you'll see that one. It has a 12k power as opposed to 13k power.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And here, this one is a PG, so the PG looked a little different too back then.
Yeah, the PGs are a little different. These were actually, we have a lot better PGs in my opinion right now in the D format, because with these PGs specifically, you'd still have to discard even if your hand was like 1 or less.
Whoa! Is this a good hit?
I mean, okay. So this, I think so personally, because the thing is with
well, I mean, I say is it a good hit, but the format's dead. So like,
yeah. Well, with the V format specifically, right? You know how they give us like these secret energy markers nowadays, right?
Yeah.
So before that, they used to give these, which were like secret markers.
Wait, this feels so good. They're like textured and everything.
Yeah. So that one specifically, I think, was used for I can't remember his name in the anime, but I believe he played Nova Grappler specifically. But yeah, so that's an Imaginary Gift XL2 marker.
It feels really cool.
Yeah. It's really, really cool. That might potentially be a big hit there, Igni. That's actually really, really cool.
Yeah, but the big hit, quote unquote, who's gonna buy it from me?
Hey, maybe you go and you find a Nova Grappler or a premium enthusiast who might.
We also got a full art like Naruto technique here.
Yeah, so cool. That's for Nova Aokami. So they focused on a unique mechanic called evil decoy tokens.
Okay. Well, I mean, like currently in D we have like frame rares and stuff, but here there's like no frame instead, so the rarity.
Yeah. They just went. I mean, for that one, I guess for the token, they just kind of went like that full art aesthetic, which I personally love. Nice. I love it when they do like full art aesthetics for Vanguard cards. I think it looks really, really cool just to show more of the art.
This is really sick. I'll tell you right now, this cost me 20 Singapore dollars, which is like 15 US dollars, and I think this is worth it already. This was sick.
Post editing person, put in the thing right now if he plussed super hard or not. Yeah, the main thing I remember of this particular set being really, really good was Astral Poets, which was the Genesis main clan.
Interesting. Oh, this is a pretty card.
Oh, Astoria. Yeah, she was really nice back in the day. I mean, she's definitely be reprinted like a handful of times because she was actually really, really good.
With her color scheme, she looks like one of the dancers in the back of like one of those Captain America propaganda shows they had in that
she
movie.
really does. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh, okay. We have a draw trigger. Okay.
Just a standard vanilla draw trigger. But the funny thing too is that like with V era specifically, these vanilla draw triggers weren't used that much because our PGs were also our draw triggers.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
It's like literally a whole different game. I mean, I guess that's why they call it a reboot. It just feels like it's a completely different game, honestly.
Yeah.
This looks sick. What the heck? It's also a Nubatama card, looks like.
Yeah, that doesn't even look like a Nubatama card. That kind of makes you feel like
it says
like a
Nubatama on
Tachikaze
it.
unit. Yeah.
It's so cool. Another crit. Oh, and another token. Okay. For me, it's just like very novel to like take a trip down like what Vanguard used to be. As a new player, I did not experience this, but for you, it's like a trip down memory lane a little bit.
Almost memory lane, but then in certain instances, it's like, oh, war flashbacks.
Or like, who is that? Okay. Oh, this is a front?
Oh yeah, front triggers. Okay, so a really cool thing about front triggers specifically is that in this set, right, they released a boss archetype for Nova Grapplers called God Hand. Back then, front triggers weren't used that much because unlike in standard format, with V format, you could play as many crits as you wanted to. There wasn't a restriction.
What?
So, yeah, so most people played like a high amount of crit. I mean, you also want to make room for your draws as well, but normally it was like a high amount of crit and then just heals.
Wow.
And so they tried to make front triggers really good in this specific pack with God Hand because God Hand had an ability where if you check the front triggers, certain things would happen. It didn't do too well if I remember correctly, but
well, they tried. They tried.
They tried.
Oh, I've seen this card before. People meme about this card. It's just literally just a wrestler.
Mr. 3 minutes.
Mr. 3 minutes is a crazy name, bro.
I think his name is just 3 minutes, actually. His flavor text I remember his flavor text being really, really funny too.
Oh my god. All right, well, moving forward. But yeah, man, this is crazy. So I know that back in the day they used to have stand triggers. Is that in G or is that not in V?
That was in G. That was in OG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dang.
After the first reboot, they got rid of stand triggers altogether.
They seem broken as hell, stand triggers.
They made them broken. That's the crazy part. So like back in the day, OG format, like me being like great grandpa talking here, nobody played stand triggers, or like it was very selective who would play stand triggers. So like when G format came around, they started giving them effects. And then people just went crazy with all the stuff that you can do with them.
Is this a Nova Grappler? Looks like
yeah,
it.
that one's used for God Hand. So I believe its effect was something along the lines if you were to check a front trigger, either he gets 5,000 power, or you could choose a unit and it gets an additional 5,000 power.
Yo, they gotta bring this foiling pattern back. This is actually kind of sick.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like if you were in English format, which really is. I know for me, like, I'm not a fan of the triple rare foiling. I'm definitely more of a fan of like the JP foiling because most of the time when I think of like triple rare foilings, it's like shattered glass foiling. But I like these like line patterns. I think they're really, really cool.
They look really sick. Oh, okay. We got another fancy guy. I feel like this pack is mostly I'm getting Nubatama cards and Nova Grappler cards, it looks like, for the most part.
Yeah, you're definitely going to get, like I said, it focused mainly on the 4 clans. And that's like one of the things when it came to these boosters where it's like you start seeing a lot of things that look similar, whereas opposed to if like you were to do the overdress cards, right? They have like a whole bunch of like different aesthetics because they're all from nations. But because you start focusing on just clans, it all starts kind of like looking the same, or you start pulling a lot of duplicates actually sometimes.
I understand why they split it into nations then, because I feel like if you do it just for clans, like a lot of people just end up skipping tons of boxes and they just buy
exactly. Like imagine being like, I don't know, a Kagero fan and you only get one line of Kagero. Hey, a VR. Okay.
This guy looks insane.
Yeah,
exactly like you say. Like I feel like exactly like people just end up skipping boxes if it doesn't have their clan in it. So it seems like it's hard to move product that way. So I understand why they ended up consolidating them into nations.
Yeah.
I mean, between you and me and everybody who's watching this video, what do you prefer, nations or clans?
That's a toughie. I mean, I'm an old guy, so I love clans only because I love my clan specifically, but I also love nations. I think if I have to choose though, I think I much prefer nations at the moment though, because I get more variety.
I can't wait to open the Destructive Roar, because this is actually the newer of the 2 sets that I have here. This one's from 2019. This one's all the way from like 2018, so this is like 6+ years old.
I remember Destructive Roar as a meme set personally. We can get into it once we start opening the box, but yeah, there was a lot of memes throwing around with that.
Well, I'm excited to get into it because this is like legit. I have no idea what I'm even gonna do with these cards. I just keep it in my collection, but this one I'm displaying for sure. It's just so dope.
Yeah. When you play your first game of premium is gonna be like, look, I already have one of these force markers. I'm good to go.
Wait, so premium, you can play V cards in premium? Is that how that works?
Yeah,
premium, can you play anything?
You can play any cards.
Does that mean like this is before ride decks were a thing too, right?
Exactly. You can play ride decks though in premium.
You could potentially like just miss your ride. Is that just a thing that can happen?
Yep, that's very much a thing. But there's a thing.
I see why they changed it. I'll be honest.
There's a thing called G Assist that you can do in premium that can potentially get you your ride. So there is ways to get around that.
This guy looks freaking dope as hell.
Yeah, oh that's one of the cool things I loved about Nova Grapplers is that like it's just they're robots, but they're like, I don't know, because they're wrestling, they're able to go like crazy with some of the card design. Where it's like specifically with Dimension Police, it was usually just like big robot that transforms into bigger robot, which is still cool. But like I don't know, Nova Grapplers.
We can't be caught trash talking Dimension Police when next time Chris comes on here is gonna have some words with you.
Just get a random DM when this video goes live on the channel.
How dare you? How dare you, first of all?
How dare you?
All right, here we go. The even older set now, apparently a meme set, is the Extra Booster Destructive Roar. Do you even know who these people are on the box? Who are these people?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so the cool thing about V specifically, where it's like, some of these units that you see are actually retrains of older units from back in original format. So like, I remember
do you know the song, like the Epic of Gilgamesh? It opens with, in ancient times, this happened. And the Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest known story we have. This is what it's like when you're talking about V. Even back in V, we're calling back to even more ancient times.
It was the year 500 BC. Young Fuzzy was learning the world.
Okay, let me check out the box topper first. Let me see what's this up. All right,
yeah.
We got... Oh, what are these?
Those are also gift markers. So there were two different types of markers. Originally, they were horizontal like this, and then later on, they made an additional marker that went vertical. So you had Force 1, Force 2, Protect 1, Protect 2, Excel 1, Excel 2. So they each gave you various effects, but still played to the motif of what the Force marker did. So like Protect 1, for example, was a PG in your hand, whereas Protect 2 was a marker on your field that gave your units on your board more shield. Whereas force markers for the blue ones, the horizontal ones gave you critical, while the vertical ones gave you additional 10k power. And then the Excel markers still gave you those additional rearguard circles, but the vertical ones gave you 10k power on those units, whereas the horizontal ones gave you only 5k power, but when they were generated, you drew a card.
Oh.
And when they made Excel 2, people personally think is like one of the most strongest of the imaginary gifts that came out, because it was just a free draw anytime you made one. That one there is the Excel 1 though. So the one they actually pulled, that's Excel 2. So that's like the more powerful one. Yeah.
Why is this a guy and the other two are just JPEGs? What's up with that?
Sometimes what they did when they promoted the set, they just liked to put units on the markers, because a lot of people needed just markers in general. So it was just a way to put stuff up.
Fair enough. Let's open the pack and see what's up. So this is the meme pack, I've been told. So
yeah,
we'll see if any of these cards are even playable.
Yeah, so this is an extra booster set. So a lot of the times what they did is they made these smaller sets for like a lot of the lesser clans. So you had Mega Colony in this one, Tachikaze, and Spike Brothers. Oh yeah, so this one is Machinings, which is a specific archetype.
This is out of the box. Look how curled it is.
The Pringles.
It's been in there for 10 million years, dude.
Yeah, these older sets tend to Pringle a lot. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god, that's tough.
Yes, so the Mega Colony was like bugs.
So it would be in Stoicheia today, I assume.
Exactly. Tachikaze were like dinosaurs and robot dinosaurs.
That's epic.
So I personally think you would really like Tachikaze, Igni. Yeah. And then Spike Brothers was American football.
Oh, like what Danji plays.
Diablos Bruce, if you were to play that back in like OG days, he'd probably belong to Spike Brothers. So.
That makes sense. Okay, interesting. I'm learning a lot. What the heck is this?
That's an origin rare, I think. Holy moly. Okay.
What does that even mean? I'm so zoomer. I don't know what an origin rare is.
As me as the boomer explaining, I guess. So origin rares. So like I said, remember when I said that these cards were older cards back in the day? When they retrained them, sometimes you have the ability to pull their OG art, how they were back in the day.
Oh.
So this here, Juggernaut Maximum, has the new V skill of the retrain of Juggernaut Maximum, but using the original art where it came from back in the day. So this is OG Juggernaut Maximum.
It's got
I think personally looks so freaking boss, man.
It does look boss, and it's got a really interesting foiling pattern, and it's textured too. What the heck? They went all out, man.
Origin rares are really cool. I really, really love them.
All right, we got 2 good pulls now. Let's go.
Let's go.
Keep it true.
Video editor, did he plus? Yeah.
No shot on earth did I plus, dude. I'm super minus. I knew that going in.
He's like, plus $1.
Yeah, plus $1. Oh my god. It's like a Kamen Rider villain.
What's really cool is that particular card, the Hercules Beetle, the shiny one.
Okay.
That's actually still used today in premium format.
Woo! Am I plus yet? Editor?
Yeah, that one. It's used in Ghidorah in premium specifically, just because it has a guard restrict and it has additional crit.
I'm probably the editor for this, by the way, so I'm just giving myself more work whenever I call out to the editor. All right.
I'm sorry, post editor Igni that's listening.
Insert the footage of me shaking my head like that MF right. Okay. Whoa! What's this guy? Is this a Spike Brother?
Spike Brothers, they focused on tagging out units. So basically how they would work is you would attack with a unit and then you would swap it out for another unit from your deck.
Oh, that's interesting, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So that card that you pulled focused on doing just that. So
that's pretty sick.
Yeah. They all focused on like just over the top football like player aesthetics, so like you can just see like it had like the spike shoulder pads and stuff. So yeah.
Are there any like old mechanics from V that you'd like to see come back? Is this sparking anything in you where you're like, oh, I wish they reinvented that for D in any way?
In some ways, yeah, I would like to see maybe like the God Hand stuff where it's like if you check a certain trigger, right, then certain things would happen. That would be really, really cool. I don't know, I kind of like the way Standard is playing out right now.
Fair enough, man. Leave the past behind.
Yeah, for real. Although, you know, we're saying that now, and then I'm talking about like Levy Dress and Rezael format as we speak. So, man, I don't know. Maybe I do want the old stuff back at the moment.
This is literally just a man.
Yeah, that's Wonder Boy. So, funny enough.
Oh my God, it is Wonder Boy. That's his name.
Yeah, Wonder Boy. Yeah. So, fun fact.
So silly.
He was originally just an 8K vanilla.
Oh, really?
Oh, and the one that you passed to, Sonic Noah, that was also an 8K vanilla. Both of those were just 8K vanillas back in the day.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I really love the Tachikaze clan, like the robot dinosaurs, dude. I need that to be good in D, man. Like,
there is, and I remember specifically in V, there was a time where Tachikaze's was like one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful clan, because they, I think they focused on a card called Anger Blader, which its name alone sounds so cool. I actually really love that name, Anger Blader. And it's just a giant dinosaur. And it focused on making like these really annoying dudes that just could not be retired and got really, really big. Ooh, okay.
Whoa,
you're about to, I love this card.
Of.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one of my favorite cards from OG series. This is called, I believe his name is Death Rex. And this is his retrain version, but me being a boomer, whenever I see this card, reminds me of like my OG set 1 days playing, because back then, an OG format, like way back in OG format, you could actually mix clans. So I would always like to mix clans, and I would mix like Tachikaze's with Kagero, and I would always play this Death Rex card. He was one of my favorite cards. I love Death Rex.
The history of Vanguard is like there were 3 card games. Like I have no clue. Mixing clans, it sounds
Everything
insane.
Changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
God, the Spike Brothers aesthetic is so funny to me because it's like, it's a fantasy game. What do you mean you're just playing American football, dude? What are you saying?
For real.
You know the game Blood Bowl? It's like Warhammer, but it's a football.
Yeah.
It reminds me of
Blood
that.
Bowl. Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness.
And this is the final pack. It's nothing.
You pull the PG. So if you see that, so those were the PGs that people would use back in the days. But you see, it's also a draw trigger.
Oh my god, yeah. So
So you'd have to
PGs were
root.
draw triggers? That's insane.
Yeah. Like I said, people could play like any amount of crits they wanted to back in the day, but because your PGs were draw triggers, that's how they balanced it out. They said, okay, well, you're going to play 4 draw triggers anyway by making them PGs.
That's ridiculous. Oh my god. The
And
game
they're
was
still used in premium today. So.
certainly different back then, I will say. Wowee. Well, Fuzzy, thank you so much for walking down memory lane with me. I mean, it's memory lane for you. It's complete bafflement for me, but I appreciate you taking the time to come on this video.
Thank you for making me feel very old, Igni.
Well, you're at the end of the video, which means you probably liked it, and that means you'll definitely like this other video I did with Fuzzy where he teaches me all about Dragonic Overlord.